Hello and welcome to Moose Meets, where I sit down with various protocols to explore their innovations and what sets them apart. And of course, we'll be digging for some exclusive alpha for you, so make sure to lean in and stay tuned to ensure you don't miss a thing. Without further ado, let's jump right in. Uga Buga, my fellow Beras, welcome back to another episode covering the Berachain Ecosystem series. Today I have IVX with me, so two people here with me right here, Waj and Bob from IVX. Hey guys, how are you doing?
Doing very well. Thank you for having us.
Hey guys, thank you.
Waj. Waj, it's been like almost a year since I had you on the podcast, and back then you were still a full-time doctor, and now you're with IVX, so nice to see that. And maybe before we go into your story, could you briefly run us through like what is IVX?
Yeah, Bob, you want to talk us through like what IVX is?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so IVX is a short-dated options protocol. We are currently building our product on Berachain Artio Testnet. We launched 1 month ago, and we've been doing well so far. So basically what IVX offers right now is 0 days to expiry options market, allowing people to speculate on short-dated events. So if there is a certain event or like announcement or news, or you just bullish or bearish within 24 hours, you can speculate on it through IVX interface. And the reason that you want to use IVX options instead of like normal perpetual markets is because you are able to take high leverage without the risk of getting liquidated, which is basically like one of the main benefits of options. You can add Waj if you want to add something.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think the easy way that I like to explain it to people is, okay, look, imagine you're a trader and you're scrolling Twitter and you see some incredible news that makes you want to trade. Now, a lot of the ways that people like to trade today is they like to use perpetual markets, whether it's GMX, Vertex, Hyperliquid, DYDX, the popular ones today. So you can go there and you can trade, a variety of assets there, and you can basically move that slider across to high leverage. The problem, though, is that when you kind of go to those high leverage, we're not talking about 2x or 5x. We're talking maybe 50x or 100x or 150x. When you take your leverage that high, when you're using perpetual markets, you have a really high risk of being liquidated. You'll probably get liquidated in the next 30 seconds or 1 minute if price goes against you. And so when you're trading narratives or trading the news, especially at high leverage, using perpetuals isn't really the best way to do it. Options work much better. And that's because with options, you don't have the liquidation and you don't have the funding rates as well that you need to pay. So for that reason alone, when trading short time frames, options are a really interesting instrument when it comes to trading news, especially.
Gotcha. So it's kind of like perps, but with no risk of liquidation, but it's a much more short dated as well, like within a day, right?
Correct. And I think most people, when they trade in crypto today, most people are looking at short time frames. I don't think like when it comes to options, perhaps in traditional markets is different, but in crypto markets, we've clearly seen like the demand for trading options on longer time frames, especially on chain, hasn't really come to fruition yet. Perhaps it will in future, and I do hope it does. But I think there's clearly a massive demand for trading short time frames. I think we all see it time and time again on Twitter, for example. And I think that appetite really makes sense when you're giving them a product like this.
Yep, got it. And options being a little hard to understand, right? You have all the other factors like your theta and beta and all like all the volatility, time decay kind of things. Then do we have to learn how to kind of read and assess that when using IVX?
I don't think so. I think one of the things that we really try to do is make things simple, clean, easy to understand. We don't have like all these Greeks, whether it's delta and vega and theta, like listed all over the page. We don't have like all of these different complicated things on the interface. We try and keep things simple and clean and kind of give users an interface where they know exactly if they're basically going long or going short. I think like, of course, like having an understanding of Greeks will definitely give you an edge when it comes to trading options. I think that's obviously going to be the case. But ultimately, we want to provide basically a place where users can speculate and really speculate with high leverage. And that's what we're trying to do. I'm sure perhaps, Bob, you have something to add on to that.
Yeah, actually, like the way we're working on this, me and Waj, is you don't have to understand everything about options. You just only have to understand it enough to use it from IVX interface. So you only need to know like your option might expire worthless, and you need to time your entry like in a good way. And if you are a seller, you should know more about the theta effect inside the option premiums and how you can benefit from this. Because not only we have buyers, we might also have sellers. and sellers are incentivized to sell on leverage if they want. And we allow that internally on IVX using our own portfolio margin. So like a minimum understanding is good. And we are working on a new IVX Learn. I saw you, Moose, asking about this on the Discord. So yeah, we are simplifying it a bit and making it like only consistent about what they can do on IVX.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be like a great learning resource, similar to how Pando has like their Learn Academy as well, where they were trying to explain back then when new trading was something hard to understand. So yeah, it's good to see you guys doing this as well. And maybe let's talk about on the product side as well, right? You guys are doing options. I saw you guys on Testnet, you're listing like most of the major coins, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and recently Dogecoin as well. And I saw someone asking about NFTs, right? Would you guys be looking to kind of maybe integrate NFTs trading on IVX as well, or maybe what other products could we kind of expect moving along?
Bob, you want to take this?
Yeah. Okay, so like it's always better for startups to only at first to look at the small market, like you look at your market and you try to control it first. And once you control it, you try to expand more. So the way we are thinking about it as a team is we want to focus on 0 days to expiry first. We want to focus on like the main assets that people actually trade. Like we started with Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Solana. Of course, we'll add Berachain token, and probably we'll add another like blue chip from the Berachain ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
And regarding answering the question about NFTs, so regarding NFTs, of course, it will be like very interesting because Berachain is like it's very NFT based community wise, but you need also a market maker to market make these options. We are an MM based, but we don't want to put all the risk on the liquidity providers. We need also to protect our community. For that reason, I'll tell you some alpha. Me and NFT per guys are talking, and we might do something interesting. Like I'll leave it there.
Sorry, you were saying you were working with who? I couldn't really catch
Yeah.
that.
NFT.
We are,
Oh, NFT.
yeah, we
Perp.
are talking with the NFT perp. Yeah.
Nice,
I
nice.
I think they have some ideas for the Berachain ecosystem, and yeah, it will be interesting. I'm telling you, like it will be interesting, and we'll try to push boundaries. Like this is what we want to do.
Okay, nice. Right, and why build on Berachain specifically? Because I've heard you guys were previously on another chain, and like you guys decided to move over to Berachain. So maybe let's hear more from you guys.
You're absolutely right. We were originally going to be on Arbitrum, and I think there was a number of reasons why we decided to pivot and move over to Berachain. I think, firstly, you could say that the option market is perhaps a little saturated on Arbitrum. I mean, that's a good thing because I think more competition drives innovation anyway. But I think we saw a gap in the market where we were really able to become the first native option protocol on Berachain. And I think, secondly, like the type of product that we have, right? This is a very high leverage, trading interface. The type of people that would use this sort of product are probably going to be ones that are a little degen. And I think if you look at like the communities of these different chains, I think Berachain really fits that narrative well, especially being like a very DeFi focused degen chain. You certainly get that vibe when you're like in the communities, within Berachain. And thirdly, I think we're very, very fortunate. We were able to not only get significant help and like support directly from the Berachain team. I don't think many other chains are going to have like the actual chain team themselves, like really go in the trenches and really help these individual projects out. So I think that was a really, really nice thing that we managed to get. And also like in terms of like the community, like being able to partner up and really work very closely with lots of these other Berachain ecosystem projects, even if they're not directly derivatives as well. I think like it's very hard to get that sort of culture and community on other chains. So I think like those three reasons were probably like good enough for us to basically decide, let's go all in on Bera.
Nice. Love to hear that. Right, and I mean, of course, you mentioned partnerships and integrations as well. So I'm curious, like, what are the existing partnerships that IVX has, or like, what can we expect, and how would that kind of look like, right? Maybe perhaps with IBGT, or I don't know, like you mentioned NFT perps as well. So yeah, let's hear from you.
Yeah, so like when it comes to like working with other protocols, there's like a variety of ways that we can do it. I mean, look, the first thing is, look, when users come to IVX, they have to deposit into the portfolio. And so like you can deposit stable coins, you can deposit also yield bearing assets. And so working directly with different protocols who offer these sorts of yield bearing assets is like one area that we could easily kind of support some of these partnerships with. You may have seen like on Twitter, like we've done partnerships with a variety of these different protocols already. So you will see like these yield bearing assets from various different ones. I think also like creating strategies, like building on top of IVX. So whether it's selling strategies or whatever, vault strategies, I think there's partnerships there. And then like when it comes to like the product offerings as well, like we just mentioned, NFTs, possibly other types of crypto assets that we can provide options for. And then like you can also have partnerships on the LPing side as well. So I think like in general, like our infrastructure is so broad in the sense that we can find partnerships with all of these different subsections of what IVX offers today. And you again, like we'll put all of these different partnerships on Twitter. A lot of them will be directly with like the Berachain Ecosystem projects. So whether it's with the likes of Infrared or whether it's with the likes of Ramen and some of these other Bera projects. But also, I think we're looking outside of that, like we just mentioned with NFT Perp and possibly some others. You know, we had Redacted Cartel as well. And I think like the plan is to just continue with that because I think we can all help each other. Like these partnerships can help not only with like growth and marketing, but also like in terms of actual product offering. I think that's the most important thing. And if we can like expand that, offer a wider product offering that gives more benefits to users, ultimately, that's the most important thing.
Gotcha. Looking forward to seeing all those announcements come up pretty soon. I hope.
Yep, we've been cooking hard. Well, Bob's been cooking a lot of these things for sure.
Nice. All right then. So I know you guys have been on testnet for a while now. How many weeks has it been? Like 3, 4? So like
I
how
think
does
6 weeks.
6 weeks? Wow. Yeah. So how does testnet look like? Do you have some stats you can share with us?
Bob, you want to take this?
Yeah, actually, I was just looking this morning. We hit around 6.2K in portfolio created on IVX. And I think like numbers right now are good. And we expect this to be higher as like we push more stuff into the testnet. But what actually matters is what will happen on mainnet, you know? And like what we are personally focusing on is like creating a good community and educate them how they can benefit the most from IVX, you know, because at the end of the point, if you can't make like money on the derivatives market, they won't use you, you know. So like this is our main target.
Mm-hmm. Right. And how many active users are there like on a daily basis? Having that number of profiles created. How's the volume look like on? I mean, I know it's just testnet, but I just want to get some numbers here if it's okay.
Yeah, I told you about the portfolios is 6.2K.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the active ones are 2.5, like, but not the same ones. Like they are variating between the portfolios, and volume is crazy. Like I won't tell you the volume because like it's not true. It's in something in like 3 billions, but like cumulative volume. But you know, it's testnet. You know, like we are minting for them like 2K per week, so like they can easily upside the volume. So, but we can benefit from this data to optimize our parameters, and it's going as intended. It's going as
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure the volume is not kind of real, right? Because it's testnet money, like you mentioned. Right? I admit I'm the one going there and opening like 100 contracts and clicking max long every day. But yeah, jokes aside, good to hear that you guys are making like steady progress and having more testnet users every week. And I think one question that a lot of the listeners would or the users of IVX would like to know is, would this be an incentivized testnet? That's the real question, right? Could we get some answers from you guys?
Ooga booga. Uh, yeah, of course. Like we closed the referral codes for a bit, and there was a reason for that because we took our first snapshot for the first 2.5K users, and like we'll have two incentives for now, but I won't disclose it. But we have a first part for the very early users. We have a second part for the whole testnet users, and we're focusing more on mainnet, and we will try to make something like more interactive and not like very short term opinionated, like more long term. You know, there will be incentives, of course. Like this is how we reward our community. You know, they helped us a lot, even in the product design. You know, like I know you guys been helping even on the gamma list. You know, like the gamma list cult. So we actually built the IV2 together. You know.
Yeah. So like for those who are not aware, Gamma List is a role in their Discord server, and then there's like a separate channel for that. And Bob and Waj has been really actively asking for opinions of those who are in the Gamma List server. And we kind of can put our inputs in to kind of shape how IVX is growing based on our feedback. So really appreciate that as well. And you mentioned that it's also a closed testnet, right? So how can users who are not yet using IVX testnet get onto IVX?
Okay, so in order to like get started on IVX, you first need to get an Ooga Booga code. There's plenty of them in the Discord, so I think coming to the IVX Discord is probably like the best place to start. Once you're there, you can find plenty of these codes, and then you can basically get started. So you go to the IVX.fi website, you go to the web app, launch the application, make sure that you're on the Berachain Testnet. You can get some Bera from the faucet, which is we've got a link to that directly on our web app, and that basically will give you some gas to get started. You can use any EVM wallet, by the way. So if you're using MetaMask, you can use that. If you're using Rabi wallet, you can use that. It's entirely up to you. Remember that this is on testnet, so as we've just mentioned, like you're not using real funds at the moment. And you can basically enter this code and you can basically get started. When you enter the actual web app itself, you'll be able to see a portfolio. You'll need some USDC or IVX USDC for it. You will be able to get this automatically, like via the web app as well. So you'll be able to get a few $1,000s worth, and this is just for you to trade with. You'll have your referral codes there, so you can basically share them with your friends and get other people on board. Who knows, maybe that will give you some more benefits in future. And then you can go to the trading side and you can basically trade. The interface is, we tried to make it as simple and as easy as possible. You have 4 different assets that you can trade right now. So you've got Bitcoin, you've got ETH, you've got Solana, and you've got Dogecoin. And you can basically buy or sell puts or calls for either of these assets. Now, for each of these assets, there's 3 strike prices right now. That's a way to basically help not to fragment liquidity too much and basically keep things pretty simple. So you've got 3 prices for each asset. Decide what you want. Are you bullish? Are you bearish? And yeah, just simply execute whichever kind of strategies you want. The great thing with options, though, is that like you can do so much more than you can with like perpetuals. So like, for example, if you weren't sure which way price was going to go, you didn't know if it was going to go up or down, but you did think that there was going to be some volatility. Or options give you the ability to basically long volatility if you wanted to. If you think things are going to just go sideways for a bit, you can short volatility. There's many strategies that options offer you, and I think that's like one of the great things about them. People don't really appreciate too much. So yeah, have a play around. I think even if you're just buying some calls or you're just buying some puts, you will learn a lot just from interacting with the testnet. And yeah, give us your feedback as well if you're in the Discord. We'd love to help to make the application even better, whether it's improving things on the UI UX or even improving things from the mechanics. But yeah, we appreciate all kinds of feedback as long as it's constructive.
Yeah, man. So I mean, I'm an active user of the testnet, right? It's really simple to use. I think the UI is really great. Yeah, 4 tokens now, right? 3 strikes. So I heard that there might be more strikes in future, right? But for now, you just learn, and I think learning hands-on is the best way and fastest way to get caught up with things. So yeah, do go and play around with it and let us know what you think. Right, moving on to the next topic on token utility, right? Do we have any information on how the IVX token would be? What's the token utility? Like, is it similar to GMX? Or let's hear from you guys.
Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, more information about this will be coming in around May to June. We are designing the tokenomics white paper right now, but mainly we are going through a buyback and burn program for the first time, but it will be like a smart buyback and burn, and we'll disclose it more inside the document. And having token will help you a bit in our ecosystem because we have other sub-products that are coming in the future. So it will be under the same token and you can use the token inside the other protocols as well.
Ooh, nice. Like lending it on Gumi and borrowing against it.
Try to loop it.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing how that looks. And yeah, I think that's all on the token side, right? The next one would then be about your roadmap. Like, how does the roadmap look like? What do you guys have in mind for the coming quarters or months leading up to the mainnet launch?
Yeah. Okay. So we actually closed our seed round not much ago, like for 1 week, and we will announce very soon. And we are a bit waiting for like Berachain to launch and to settle a bit. And after that, we want to deploy our contracts and like launch a beta version and then launch the mainnet version that people will actually have like full ability to use it. So we are working on our audits between June and July, and we are working on a financial audit with Chaos Labs as well. We are trying to make like, even that we are a bit shit posting and being very close to the community and being like a bit left there, we want to make sure that our AMM actually works and to be very competitive with other centralized exchanges and with other option markets on chain. because we have small competition in the 0 days to expiry market. So you need to design, if you want to go to like competitive market, you need to design something like far much better. So you have an edge, and people actually want to use you. So mainly
Got
around August, I think our mainnet will be live around August. I don't like to give like timelines because you don't know
Mhm.
what happened, but around this, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So I think August is a good time, I guess, depending on when Berachain launches. Hoping it will launch a bit earlier, but then we have to be waiting for IVX to launch as well.
Yeah, I think launching on day one won't be like very wise, especially for us because IVX at first had some problems on Berachain Testnet because the chain was a bit congested. So I think
Mm-hmm.
what we first need to see is like Berachain V2 Testnet going live to see like the white paper of Berachain and how they structured like the incentive program, because like IVLP would be powered by proof of liquidity, and we already have like a few partnerships like under the table regarding incentivizing more BGT into our IVLP pool. So yeah, we need like to be stuff to settle because it's not like 1 2 months like to capture some volume and then leave. We're in it for the tech.
Yeah, nice. But I think that's a unique take, right? Because I've been seeing most protocols trying to push themselves to go mainnet on day one, whereas I think you are more being concerned on the prioritizing security and safety of everything before going out for the launch, which I think is good. Yeah.
I think if
Yeah,
you're like an NFT product, like, yeah, it makes sense to like be there on day one. But like if you're like a financial product, then I think, yeah, you got to make sure that LPs are protected, and you got to make sure that the incentive mechanisms and things work correctly before you can really let users, deposit their money into a protocol.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Right. And what's the end goal or the vision look like for IVX, guys?
I think IVX like ultimately could become, the place for trading instruments, whether it's specifically focused on the short time frame. I think you'll hopefully see in due time some of the other stuff that we've been cooking. But ultimately it's going to be a place with a range of infrastructure and tools for users to utilize to trade. Ultimately, that's what we like to offer. I think people clearly have a demand to speculate, and one of the best ways to do that is to trade. And so we will offer that with our high leverage products. But yeah, you'll see very soon, like there will be a range of other products as well, whether it becomes firstly with altcoins and secondly with potentially NFTs and potentially other types of crypto assets in future before we see even other kind of utilities around day trading. I think ultimately that's what we want to do. We want to provide that infrastructure. And yeah, you'll see very, very soon some of the other stuff that we've been cooking.
Nice. Looking forward. And before we go off, right, I just want to ask, like, Waj, the last time we spoke, you were a full-time doctor, and now almost 1 year later, you're like a founder at IVX. How did that happen? How did you meet Bob?
Well, I'm not the founder. Bob is definitely the founder. My role at IVX is basically to help with the non-technical stuff. So whether it's growth or BD or content marketing, like all of those things. I think when you're at a startup, you wear multiple hats. So like one day you're doing something and the next day you're doing a completely different role. But that's part of it. Yeah, being a doctor was great. I still am a doctor. But I had this opportunity to leave and basically try something out in crypto. I think most people know me as someone who really enjoys DeFi, all the different strategies and kind of things that you can do in DeFi. And I think options are certainly one of the things that I really, really enjoy. And so, yeah, I think Bob also was a content creator. He still is, I guess. But he was also part of the Threaders. And he very kindly reached out to me back in, I think it must have been September or something, basically Q3 last year. He reached out to me and said, look, we're building this, like, why don't you come on board and kind of help us out? So yeah, I really appreciate the opportunity that he gave me, and been on like multiple journeys, ups and downs since then. The product that we have today is very different. Our branding, our marketing, everything is so different from what it was when I first started. And yeah, I can't wait to see like how the next 1 year and how the next few years actually go. I'm excited to like build and really help on this side of the table, because it's one thing like being like an investor or a speculator, and then it's another thing being like a content creator, and it's another thing being like a builder. So it's like so cool to like experience all those different kind of journeys. And like, yeah, I've learned a lot. And yeah, I can't wait to see like what we can do for the future, because I think we've got an amazing team now based all over as well, really talented folks. And yeah, I'm excited because we've got such a good group. We're going to cook some really cool stuff for sure.
Awesome. By the way, how big is the team?
It's expanding. Like every week, there's someone new here now.
We have like 7 engineers right now. 5 of them are seniors, one junior, one intern, and we have 7 people working on the community. And like for whoever is listening to this podcast, if you think you are crazy enough to join IVX and can offer something on the table, we are happy to discuss. We basically like operate like all the time on Discord, so just text us.
Bullish.
Awesome.
Teams expanding.
Awesome. Before we go off, is there anything else that you want to talk about that we might have missed?
No, not really. I think like some people will want to learn perhaps a little bit about like the architecture of IVX. I think if you want to learn that, we can do some content on that and really explain like how the actual AMM works itself. But otherwise, I think like most people just go and try it out on Testnet. You'll learn a lot by trying. And yeah, if you've got feedback for us on how we can improve the trading experience, yeah, please let us know. And I think if you want to trade the news, there's no better place than doing it than IVX.
Awesome. Anything from you, Bob?
Yeah, I think all is good. Thank you, Moose. You've been putting a lot of work for the Berachain ecosystem, and we truly appreciate this.
Likewise. Thank you guys, and it's been great to have you on and explaining and sharing with us what IVX is about. Right, we're looking forward to your growth and within testnet phase or waiting for mainnet. So yeah, excited for you guys as well. And for those who are listening, right, all the links will be down in the description as always. Right, check out their Discord, their Twitter, and I'll link their personal Twitter there as well. You can go and look at the content that they're putting out. And yeah, I think that's it for this episode. We will see you in the next one.